Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Juliet. I'm a Pearson Test of English tutor, and all I do here is teach you Pearson Test of English, everything PTE. Now PTE is short for Pearson Test of English and is a computer-based exam. In today's video, I'll basically be sharing how your Pearson Test of English is scored and how you can interpret your Pearson Test of English results once you see it. Please consider subscribing if you're new here, and please like this video. Okay, give me a thumbs up for this video if it resonates with you what I'm talking about. The PTE, which is Pearson Test of English, is a fully computer-based exam. There's no paper version of it. You know, the other exams, you have paper version and then you have the computer version. But for the Pearson Test of English, it's fully a computer-based exam. That means you should have a basic knowledge of computer before you can do the Pearson Test of English. Now, this exam is required by universities across the world. It's required by governments of certain countries for you to migrate to those countries. Like, for instance, I live here in Australia, and before I migrated to Australia, I had to write the Pearson Test of English because it assesses your speaking, writing, reading, and listening skills. And other people too that are migrating to Australia, maybe they want to come here for schooling, they also need to write the Pearson Test of English. So it's a very important exam, one of the requirements you need for your migration. Now, telling you what the scores are or how you're scored for Pearson Test of English in this video today. The kind of scoring I'll be referring to here this morning is a right or wrong or correct or incorrect kind of scoring. Now, this kind of scoring is where if you give the right response to the question, you get a mark. If you do not give the right response to the question, you do not get the correct mark. You get a wrong mark. So right or wrong, correct or incorrect. Now, one of the examples of such tasks that have this kind of marking will be the last task in your speaking module, which is the answer short question. There they ask you general knowledge question. They could ask you a question like, your father's brother or your mother's brother is what? If you say aunt, is a wrong answer, so you get it wrong. But if you say uncle, you get it right. Now, this is not the only task that has that kind of marking. The multiple choice questions in the reading and in the listening would also have that kind of question, especially the multiple choice question, choose single answers. This takes me to the next kind of scoring in the PTE exam. The second kind of marking will be the partial scoring or partial marking. This partial scoring simply means that if you respond to the question the way the computer has been programmed to give you that kind of question, to give you the way the computer has been programmed to mark you, then it means that you will get the full score. Now, it means that there's some criteria that could be looked out for you to get the full scores, okay? So, like for instance, in the speaking, where you have criteria for getting a good score, criteria like content, oral fluency, and pronunciation. Like for read aloud, you're supposed to get 3 marks for content, 5 marks for oral fluency, and 5 marks for pronunciation. If you do not, if you miss out on the words of the test or the words that make up the audio, then you will not get 3/3. You get a partial score of 1 or 2. If you do not also speak fluently, you can also lose scores in the oral fluency score. Because you might get like 2, you might get like 1, you might get like 3, because oral fluency is 5/5. The pronunciation for the read aloud is supposed to be 5/5. Now, if you do not pronounce the word very well, like a native English speaker, you would also lose scores, and you get partial kind of scoring. Now, you could get scores like 1/5, 2/5, 4/5, or even 5/5 if you can pronounce the words very well. Now, the speaking has this kind of scoring a lot, not just the speaking, even tasks like the summarized spoken test, summarized written test, because there are also some criteria that you need to meet before you can get all the scores. So this is another kind of scoring you see in the PTE. If you do not do those tasks the way the computer has been programmed for you to get those tasks, then you get a partial kind of scoring. So you can't get 0 actually. You only get 0 when you do not make an attempt. But as long as you made an attempt, you only be scored partially. So these are important things you need to know. I'll be listing those tasks that has this kind of scoring as you watch this video. The third kind of scoring you get in the PTE would be the negative scoring. There are just about 2 tasks that has that kind of scoring. The multiple choice questions in the reading and in the listening module, especially the multiple choice, choose multiple answers, and the highlight incorrect word found in the listening module. Now, what happens here is you get a mark for every right answer you get, but once you fail the answer, it cancels out one of the right answers you have gotten, hence the word negative marking. So we've looked at the right or wrong answers, we looked at partial kind of scoring, and we've also looked at the negative kind of scoring. Now, these are the 3 ways that you will be scored in the Pearson Test of English exam. Remember that this exam is graded from 10 to 90, okay? There's no 100%, there's no 99%, it's just from 10 to 90. Months ago, I did a video of how the PTE scores aligns with the IELTS scores. I'm going to be leaving a link to that video in the description. Now, the PTE is graded from 10 to 90. That means that there's no 100%, okay? It means that 90 is the highest score in the PTE and 10 is the default score. Even if you didn't make an attempt in any of the modules, they would give you 10. That means that if your school requires 50, if your school requires 65, if your school requires 79, there are certain scores you need to have for you to say, oh, I have gotten 50 for my school requirement or for migration. Now, 50 is you having 50 across every of the module, that the 4 of the modules in the PTE. If the criteria for your visa is 65, that means that they expect you to get nothing less than 65 in any of the modules of speaking, writing, listening, and reading. It means simply that you get 65 in speaking, 65 in writing, 65 in reading, and 65 in listening. If they want you to get 50, the same way. Now, Australian migration is not like many other country migration where they might need you to get 8777. For Australia, if they want you to get 50, that means 50, 50, 50 across the 4 modules, or 65, 65, 65 across the 4 modules. So even if you have an overall score of 70, and yet in any of the module, you got like 64, it means you haven't gotten band 7 yet, or you haven't gotten 65 yet. You would need to rewrite that exam. This doesn't make the PTE difficult. It's simply that this is what they require of you. I mean, if that's what they require of you, then that is what you should give to them. It's not like any other country migration where they will tell you they need 8777. For Australia, you will need 777 or 666. Now, they call 666, which is equivalent to 50, and an IELTS 6, they call it the competent English. Then when you have 65, which is equivalent to IELTS 7, that is 65 across all the module, it is called proficient English. Then superior English should be you getting over 79 or getting 90, 90, 90 across the 4 modules. That is superior English. Now, if you want to get a high score for your migration, you have to score from proficient English or superior English. Those scores will help boost your points for your migration. Okay, these are important things you need to know. So when you tell me you had overall 50, will it be acceptable? That is my response to you. If you send me a question, like some of the questions I've been getting recently in some of my videos, that you got 65 of overall score, would that be accepted in the schools, or would Australian migration accept it? If you recall, I always say to you, can I see your other scores? Can I see the entire score breakdown? Or can you tell me what you got in other modules? This is because even if you get 80 as overall score, and maybe they need you to get 65 across all, then you got 64 in one of them, I'm so sorry to say to you that you would need to rewrite that exam because you have missed 1 mark from the right mark or the full mark they want you to get. So these are very important questions, okay? The overall score doesn't mean that you have gotten the required score. The required score is the score individually gotten by the modules. Those are the required score. So that means that if you get 50, 50, 50, 50, and that is what they need, then that is the required score. Now let's look at this result I have here. This result, the overall score here is 69, okay? And the person scored 73 in listening, 64 in reading, 76 in speaking, and 64 in writing. Now, this score is supposed to be 65 across all modules. The person is required to get 65 across all modules, but you can see 64 in reading and writing, just one mark short of the 65 mark, right? So this means that this person will need to rewrite this exam, except the school needs 50, 50, 50 from this person before this person can say, okay, I will need to rewrite this exam. But as long as this person has 64 in reading and 64 in writing, and the school requires 65, this person will surely rewrite this exam. I hope that is making sense. So when you see your overall score at 69, don't be too happy yet until you see the individual scores of each module. That will better inform. Now let's take another result Another example, this person had overall 82. He had 80 in listening, 87 in reading, 90 in speaking, and 76 in writing. This person was aiming for superior English, which is 79, nothing less than 79 across each model. But the writing was at 76. So that means that this result will be a band 7, which is 65, 65, 65. If this person still really needs the superior English of 79 and above, this person would need to rewrite this exam. Look at that overall score at 82. So that's why I say don't be too excited when you see your overall score. First of all, check the individual score and see if the individual score hits the point or hits the mark that the school requires of you. That way you can begin to dance and begin to jump up that you've aced your PTE results. I hope this makes sense. If you're looking for 50-50 and you get 48 or even 49 in one, then you need to rewrite. So a general recap of what we've looked at today. We've looked at the kind of scoring that the PTE gives for individual tasks in this video today. We've also looked at the scores that we get in our results, what the overall score is, and if they say they need band 7 or they need 65 or they need 50, which is band 6, or they need 79, which is band 8, what they mean when they say they need all that from you. And I hope I was able to explain it to you so that you don't make a mistake when you see your overall score. And remember to hit the subscribe button. Remember to put a thumbs up on this video, like this video. You can share it if you want. And above all, remember to super thanks me here. There's a super thanks button close to the share button. You can super thanks your girl because I'm doing a very wonderful job on this platform. I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.